Hello everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel. And today I'll be talking about a very important question: whether you should invest in the newly mutual fund categories introduced by SEBI, which will clearly which gives you a clear information about what the fund is about. So I will be talking about what it is and whether you should be investing or not. Again, ultimately it will be your decisions, but my role here in my channel is to educate you what it is about and things like that. So it's also for beginners who might be confused with the new in mutual fund technologies. Sorry, mutual fund categories. So there has been mutual fund recategorization by SEBI, Securities and Exchange Board of India, and the step has considered is considered to be a step in the right direction. So one of the good things about recategorization is that the market regulator has clearly defined mutual funds categories. So this makes investors easier to understand the risk return characteristics of a specific scheme, and but within this recategorization, there is one aspect which might confuse the investors, and the new investors might be confused with the categories which were not there before. So in equity mutual funds, now you have large and mid cap category, while in debt you have low duration fund or overnight money market funds. Now investors may find it difficult to decide how these categories fit into their objective. Now a financial advisor might be able to very clearly understand this, but a new investor or a beginner level investor might find it very difficult. So which of these categories are an option, they which one could explore further, and which one is good to BMS is something which you have to understand by checking with a financial advisor, or um, going through videos of some equally knowledgeable people who know how these things work. But you have to be very careful in identifying that too. So equity, in equity mutual funds you have now large cap, large and mid cap, multi cap, mid cap and small cap categories, along with sector and equity linked saving schemes. Now, SEBI has clearly defined where these categories of mutual funds can invest. A large cap will invest in top 100 stock as per the market capitalization. Similarly, mid cap category will invest in 100 to 250th stocks, while the small cap category will be invested in the 251st company onwards as per the market capitalization. Now, this is a recategorization. Previously, the rules were slightly different, and before this recategorization, we had large cap, multi cap, and mid cap categories for investors. And large cap category predominantly invested in large cap stocks, but the large cap universe was not well defined. It's like anything which has a large market capitalization, which is on the of a particular sector, can be defined as large cap before. But now a mutual fund, I'm sorry, previously a mutual fund company could include stocks beyond these top 100 stocks too. Now it is completely different. Now, SEBI has defined each and every category along with the universe of stocks that they can invest. So, post recategorization, a large cap mutual funds has to hold minimum 80% in large cap stocks, and the stock can be included only from the top 100 companies. Now, personally, I feel that's a very good decision to standardize how it works. Otherwise, a fund manager can allocate the funds based on his view on certain on these things, and which may or may not be good for a particular mutual fund. Now, um, within this recategorization, one more category has been introduced, that is large and mid cap fund. And as per its definition, this category has to invest minimum 35% in large cap and mid cap stocks each, while the rest can be invested either ways. Now, beyond 75%, a fund manager is free to vary the allocation. If you consider the allocation, then it's similar to a multi cap fund. The difference between these two categories is that multi-cap fund is not restricted to a strict allocation between large and mid-cap stocks. The only condition is that it has to adhere is to invest minimum 65% in equity related instruments, just like any other equity fund. Now, similar to equities, debt funds also have some new categories. We now have an overnight fund which will invest primarily in securities with 1 day maturity. Now, that means that we have a low duration fund which falls between an ultra short term fund and ultra and short term funds. Now, this fund mandated to invest in securities with McClay duration of 6 months to 1 year. And before recategorization, an ultra short term funds was investing in securities up to 1 year maturity, but now an ultra short term fund is restricted to invest up to 6 months maturity. Now comes the difficult question: should you invest in these new categories? Now, although it's still early days to comment on the change in performance, but personally I feel the change will definitely come in because it has been standardized. There has been a standardized version of for all these categories, so investors should be able to easily identify what a large cap is in future, and based on that he can take a decision, and if the large caps are actually doing well, then he can benefit from it. Similarly, in debt funds, investors should not rush to include the new categories because, like low duration funds, because that may not meet the objective. Also, you have to keep in mind the taxation. The taxation will remain same for debt funds, equity funds. I mean, I don't mean to say that both are the same. What I mean to say here is there is a categorization, and debt funds and equity funds are treated differently, and that has not changed. Please keep that in mind. So only the categories of mutual funds have changed. So keep that in mind in your future investments. If you have any questions or clarifications, feel free to write to me or comment here. I'll be happy to answer them. And if you have any feedback on my videos, feel free to write, and I'll be happy to take your feedback so that I can create more quality videos in future. Thank you, and I will see you again on my next video.